Hey Debbie, I see her on there. I don't know if she's fully joined. I need to pin you. How do I pin you? There you are. Pinned. You are pinned now.
I'm still learning Zoom myself.
So we'll just give everyone a little bit of time. I have both my cameras set up and I'm like, I don't know which way to look. I don't know which way to talk. So I'm just a hot mess. But let's just give people, I guess, a little bit of time, see if anybody comes on. And if
Okay.
we don't get any guests, then we'll just do it like a tutorial and we'll
Okay.
just run through it because everyone definitely calls in and asks for the videos, the tutorial
Oh, okay.
videos.
Your your top camera looks good.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it looks good.
Uh, don't see any questions. Looks like Debbie's maybe here. Oh, there's 6 people. Let's see. Yep, it's just us and Debbie so far. Oh, we have two. We have Kim and Pam who are joining us. So we have two guests in. So I guess let's just go ahead and introduce yourself to us, Marie. Let us know who you are and tell us a little bit about your Instagram adventures too.
All right. Well, hi everybody. My name is Marie. For those of you that don't know me, I go by the Instagram handle Simply Andrews. I love decor. Anything that makes everything the house look pretty, I am all for it. I'm a mom of two, so I also like doing crafts, especially now around the holidays. It's always fun. So I am excited to be here and show you guys all about the tips and tricks I learned with the candle.
Yeah, you've been playing with the candle a little bit, so you have learned through trial and error, maybe some good tricks to help us make sure that we're doing it to the best of our abilities. I'm sure some people have poured candles before, others like myself and Marie, I don't think you have prior to this either. So
No.
it's definitely going to be a learning experience for some. And I told Marie off camera that I'm so excited that she is going to teach us how to do it step by step because one of the things I really hate doing is like following a recipe or following instructions while I'm doing it because I just get so like, ah! But we are going to have the
Yeah.
privilege to have Marie tell us how to do it step by step. And she has done it a couple times, so she knows just what to do. I have one person who's trying to get in, so I'm going to get them a link real quick and then we'll get started. So let's just
Okay.
enjoy
Okay.
your champagne for just a second. I sure wish I would have remembered
Yeah.
glass. Wait 1 second so I can get this over to her. Is it hot in Florida?
Our temperatures have been bouncing back and forth. Literally, you wake up in the morning and it's 40 degrees, but by the end of the day, it's like 70. So you're dressed for the winter. And then it's like, okay, you're peeling off your layers once it's like midday. But
Yeah.
the drop in temp is nice. You can kind of open up the house in the morning, which is very refreshing because our winters here aren't like drastically cold like most people. So,
Yeah, I think we're pretty similar, maybe just a little bit cooler in Texas, where I'm at in Central Texas,
oh, yeah.
but yeah, it does. It's still hot. Like it's 85 today.
Yeah, I think it was like we were low 80s today.
Yeah, so similar. And we were freezing. We had 2 overnight freezes last week. So pretty
Hmm.
crazy. Hey Debbie, how are you? Looks like you're on in 2 spots, right?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Debbie.
I may be because I'm sharing my thing with the other 4 people that were joining me.
Okay, I'm like, now you're on 3 times. So we got all the Debbie today. I love it.
So our Patty and Mary Jo on.
Yeah, we did inspiration for what was really nice.
I'm gonna mute. I just muted somebody because they had a lot of background noise.
All right.
I'm here. This is Mary Jo.
There's Mary Jo. There she is.
Hi, Mary Jo.
Hello, hello.
So sadly, Debbie, Mary Jo, and 2 others, their candle didn't come.
Yep.
It got stuck in Kansas, right?
It's scheduled for delivery tomorrow.
It's a busy time of year.
And then you'll be ready.
You will. It's good. It's good. I was telling them that even without the directions, it kind of gives you the flexibility. Sometimes directions stress me out because if it's not going exactly like it says on the paper, then I'm like getting a little bit nervous. So I will definitely show you guys a good way to put the candle together.
Okay. Not a problem. Thank you.
Waiting on one more person, maybe just give her another minute or two. Debbie, is it cold by you? I know you're up north, right?
Yeah, you guys were talking about 40 and 80. It was 0 here on Thursday.
Oh no, 0. I don't know how to survive in that low of a temperature.
We're back up to the 40s today and for the next 3 or 4 days, but I think it'll be around freezing for Christmas, from what I can tell.
Oh wow.
I cannot. I am not built for cold.
Me neither.
I love my 4 seasons, and so I do not complain.
Yeah.
So that is the one thing that it's like fall. Like we went to Missouri over kind of Thanksgiving time frame, and when we got there, I was like, "What happened to all the trees? Did they have a fire? What happened here?" Because we get fires all the time too, and so I just assumed. And then I was like, "Wait, they already had fall. We are still swimming. They already had fall."
So do you know why deciduous trees drop their leaves?
No.
It's actually a method of survival because 80% of the water in a tree is in its leaves. And if it did not drop its leaves, it would literally freeze to death in winter.
Interesting.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. See, you learned something new.
That's right.
Learned something new.
Well, I think we should just go ahead and I'm sorry, Debbie, what was that?
I was just going to say the third Debbie is my sister. Her mic is not working, but she is on as well.
I did mute. I think it's because I muted her. Let me unmute her.
Maybe not.
No? I don't
Patty,
know.
I think that was me, MJ, that you unmuted.
Oh, sorry.
That's
okay.
We don't have a kid anyway, so we're just listening.
Yeah. And feel free to be unmuted and talk. There was just like, I couldn't hear what was going on. A passcode. There should be a passcode. Give me 1 second. One more second. Let's see. I'm just going to forward her this email. Debbie, when you sent your email to everyone, they didn't need a passcode, right? You just sent them your email? Yeah,
I just forwarded the meeting invite link and they connected, which is why they're all showing up as me.
I'm going to try that. We have somebody else on our team that is joining and she's having trouble.
I think that if you just click the link from the email, it did bypass.
Yeah, I copied it and sent it to her, but for some reason, it's asking her to put it.
I couldn't join from the reminder. The reminder did not have a live link in it. I had to go back to the original invite.
Same.
Okay, well, let me try that because I just sent her the reminder.
Yeah.
Let's see. Search through my 350 emails. Reminder. They're all reminders on mine. How many times do we need reminders?
this time of year, I could use a reminder every day. Help.
I know. I had to set an alarm to make sure I got here.
Yeah, make sure I'm doing everything.
Yeah. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started because I know the first step is a little bit of time consuming. So Marie, the show is yours.
All right, so I already took everything out of the box, but I'll just kind of go through the tools that came in the box. So you have your beautiful wood tray. This is definitely something that you could use even after the candle. You have the centering tool. I'll kind of show you a little trick that I learned with that. It came with the dots, so the 6 dots. You have 6 wicks, depending on what your style is. You can use all of them, or you can use just a few. I ended up making 2 candles. I did one myself and one with my daughter. So I used all the wicks and she used 5, and they still turned out really pretty. This is the metal can that will put the wax in to melt. It comes with a pine scent, which smells so good. Me personally, I poured the entire thing in there because it does smell really good. But that smells good. Depending upon if you want some color, there's a dye block in there, so a red dye block. If you choose not to use the dye block, then it will just be white from the wax. And then lastly, there was the dried plants or the potpourri that you'll sprinkle on last. So the biggest thing that I say that might take a little bit of time initially is I just personally used this to fill up with water. I dumped maybe 2 or 3 full cups into my little flat pan, and I just waited for that to boil, because once that starts to boil, the wax does melt fairly quickly. So I'm going to put water in and put it on the stove, and then I'll talk about the other part. Something that I found to be
when we did the DIY wreath last time, there was like some things we should have had that didn't come in the kit. Is there anything like that for this candle?
Yes.
Okay.
Just little things. So scissors. Personally, it sounds silly, but I used fabric scissors because sometimes this was my first time making a dough bowl. So I found that when I started to use regular scissors, it was kind of pulling the wick up, or it wouldn't cut as nicely. So or if you just have regular scissors, just start at the back of the scissors. So scissors, you're going to need scissors. I did not have a fancy stirring spoon to stir the wax, so I just simply using the end of a spoon out of my drawer, and then just like a stove mitt, just because when you do take it off the stove, just to be safe. But those are really the only things that aren't included that you would need. So I have those already prepared.
Perfect, because I did find myself ill prepared with
yeah. The only other little thing that I would like was just kind of a tip is, me personally, it's better to use almost like a flat pan than like something that's deeper, because it will allow the like metal tin just to sit in the pan and it's not floating everywhere. So if you use just kind of like a shallow pot, just to make it, enough to where it will melt the wax, that will work out too. So pretty much I just took filled it up, and I am going to put it on the highest setting for now, just to get the water boiling. That's just to make it easier for when I put in the wax. So I'm going to wait for that to get boiling.
That's a really good tip to make sure the pot isn't floating around. Yeah, I didn't think about that, and I just put mine in and it was. So thank you.
Yeah, when I had I had a deeper one, and I found myself having to kind of initially hold it with my oven mitt. And then when we did it a second time with my daughter, I used a more shallow pot, and it still worked. So, and it was able just to sit in there instead of me having to hold it and prevent it from bobbing around everywhere. So that was a little bit of trial and error with my first one.
Awesome. That's a great tip.
Yeah. And then just to kind of, while your water's waiting to boil, I put my glue dots in place. So pretty much you want to have your dough bowl ready to set once everything is melted. So you do not have to use this, but for me, simply, I put this on here and put the dot underneath it, just for simplicity of making sure that it was a little bit more centered, because if you just kind of place the dot, you'll find yourself trying to rearrange the dots a little bit to get your wicks to stay straight. So I just use simply.
The dots, I guess they're sticky on both sides, right? So
yep, they're double-sided. So right now they're, it's sticking on there. My daughter wanted to help, so I'll have her put these in the bowl. So basically what I did was I just had it to where I'll show you the first one. So I took one, and I'm going to use all 6 wicks again for this because they do fit nicely, and it creates like a pretty, glow at night. But with the block, I just set the dot underneath here. So I knew like kind of where I was going to do the rest. But it just made it a little bit easier for me to like put these on there once they were set in place. So she's going to add them in.
So Marie, are you putting them in the bottom of the bowl below the holes?
Yep.
Okay.
So right here, I'll pick it up real quick. So this is going to start, right now I don't have the, I didn't take off the top of it, just because if you want to move it around, it kind of gives you a little bit of flexibility. But you'll notice that if you can see, I'm going to try and make this to where you can see it. When you have this tool on your bowl, the white dots make it easier to like line up. So when you do move this, it's already in order. Because I noticed when I wasn't using the tool initially, my dots were like kind of zigzag. So it's just a little bit easier for me to do it that way. So she's adding in those dots. And they do stick really well. Once you press them in there, they don't move. So do that one. Do the last one. So now you guys can see where. So with the dots now, this is what it will look like once all the dots are in place. And they don't have to be in a perfect line, because once you put your wicks on, you're not going to see this. So just put those on there, and then once you have them in like the spot that you want, just press them down into the bowl so they stick. So all I did was just press them here. And then now it's ready to go as far as I can take all the stickies off and put the wicks on. So I am going to take the stickies off. And again, they don't line, just because you will not see them in the bottom of the bowl, but just try and get it as centered as you can.
my picture is starting to dance around.
Oh, it is? Well, you don't have to have it in the water yet. You just have to wait for the water to boil.
Yeah.
But it will start to dance around. So it looks like my water's boiling. So I'm going to put this to the side real quick. What I did is you can use the entire bag. Just for simplicity purposes, I just cut the corner just so it made it easier to pour, but I'm just pouring it inside here. And then I will show you what it looks like. So inside, I filled it all the way to the top. So it's full. And then I'm just gonna set this in my pan because it is boiling now. And I wouldn't say walk away from it, but just watch it, because it will you'll start to see it, the wax melt pretty quickly. But the shallow pot, I've just noticed it won't dance everywhere in the thing. So
Yeah, now that I put wax in it, it's fine.
the wax will, push it down as well. And then that's where the oven mitt comes in handy once you, get it off the stove. So I'm going to go back to the bowl. So once these are in, you can put these on there, the little wick. So you're just going to stick these wicks have a little, metal piece that those just stick directly onto the double-sided dots. Just make sure that you take off the top of the dot so it can stick before you, because if you just put it on, it's not going to do that. So just make sure you do that to where it can stick in the bowl.
Gosh.
I'm gonna check on the well. So this, once you stick them, you'll notice they're stuck on. Okay. You don't have to use your pouring tool just yet. I found that trying to place these on the dots and put them through the black thing at the same time was a little, just a little difficult. So that's what they look like right now.
Yeah, I would have been struggling trying to keep the tool in place, and
Yeah.
my wicks would have been everywhere. I thought in your video that you didn't use the tool till later, and I was like, genius.
Yeah, because I just felt like you would have to lift the tool, then put the wicks back on. So for me, it was just a little bit easier. And with me checking it, that's where I just took if you have a proper stirrer, I didn't have a proper stirrer. I'm just taking the end of my spoon, but I just kind of stir it in.
I feel like I'm doing a science, like when I was a kid.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. Are you gonna use the red block or no? Are you gonna do yours whiter and? Fan of the white. I waited to add the dye block at the very end once the wax was, because the dye block will definitely melt very quickly.
I felt like the dye was not quite strong enough. It was pretty pink, right?
Yes, it honestly was. And for the people that like pink Christmas, and it worked out well with my daughter's room because she has a pink theme. I did feel like it was the block itself looks really red, but I have the candle here that she made. It does look a little bit more pink. So this was with the red dye block. So you can't really cut it in half. That was just the full dye block into the white wax. So, but it worked out well for her because she likes the color and it was pink. So yeah, but I did do a white.
It's really cute. I just with the white, I feel like you can see all the dried florals maybe a little bit more pure. Mm-hmm.
Definitely. So it's definitely turned out really pretty both ways, just depending upon your style. So the wax is still melting. So I'm gonna now take my centering tool, and this is just where you will take your wax, your wicks, and just push them through so everything is in place, ready to go when you pour it.
Hey Nicole, it looks like you finally were able to join us. Sorry, she had a little bit of trouble getting on, but Nicole, we have been boiling our wax and setting our wicks.
Yeah, hi Nicole. So I'm gonna try and I'll hold the centering tool. So now this is what it will look like once you put your centering tool on there. And the wicks don't really fall. They are very durable, but it just makes it easier just in case, because you don't want it to fall in the wax.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Hi.
good. Hi.
So, Nicole, have you been making your candle already, or you just been struggling with technology, sadly?
I did get started before the video started, so yeah, I'm making progress over here.
Oh, good, good. I'm so sorry. I am not technologically advanced, so.
I'm learning myself, so we're all on the same page. So I just keep checking the wax. So it's about a little more than halfway melted, and I don't mess with my temperature setting. I just keep it at 8. on my stove, and I just keep it to where it's boiling. I just stir it every once in a while.
Okay. So my wax right now kind of has like a couple big lumps, like
Mhm.
and
And that's okay. And that's okay. You don't have to I just say just stir it just to break up the lump. So it's just not one big block in the tin, and it will definitely melt. But if you break it up, it just makes it melt down a little bit faster.
Okay.
I
When I
just
saw
can't
the,
see anybody else's video. I only see the host.
Oh, because I have her pen.
Okay.
I think if you swipe on if you're on your phone, it gives you the ability to see either me or everybody else that's in there. Sometimes that helps.
Can y'all hear my picture? It's like the
Can we
marching.
hear your what? And don't freak out when you see the big lump in the wax, because I kind of started panicking when I first did it, but it will definitely melt. It's just easier if you break them apart, it will melt faster.
Mine's just about melted. I would guess like what, maybe 10 minutes?
Yes, it just depends, I guess on your stove. I feel like everybody's, if you keep it at the boiling temperature, and maybe if you have a correct candle stirrer, it might do better. But it doesn't really take long to melt down the wax. And then when you put in the dye block is maybe less than 2 or 3 minutes itself, because the wax is already so hot. So it's pretty cool to see it disperse inside the wax. So I'm almost there. I'm almost all the way melted here. But this was my first candle bowl too, so I was learning.
Does anybody have any questions? I mean, I feel like it's a pretty straightforward process, and Marie, you're doing an excellent job teaching us.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm trying to think what other things that I did while that's just finishing off. Pretty much once the wax is melted and you pour it, it's a pretty quick process. You can decide if you want to add in the pine scent, or if you have like if you have other scents at home that you want to add into your candle, you can do that. Personally, I use the entire thing, and I just once I poured it into my bowl, then I sprinkled it in. Some people will do it when it's on the stove. Me personally, I just found it easier for me to pour it while it's in the bowl. And then you can even, mix it up that way too. Just personal preference, what's easier. How's your wax looking? Are you fully melted?
I'm melted.
You're melted. I have one other chunk in there, that small little chunk.
Did you take the little reducer out of your bottle when you went to pour your scent?
I did, just because you don't have to. I just found like it's easier to get it just to pour it all in, because I guess if you want to do like a couple dips, however that I just felt like it didn't drip out so quickly, so you were sitting there having to like shake it. So I just personally took it off with my scissors.
Yeah, I think that's
whatever works. Yeah.
I'm adding mine into the wax while it's melted.
I'm gonna do it like that this time, because I didn't do it like that last time. So we'll try that and see if it
Makes any difference.
Yeah.
And we'd have to do like a real experiment to find out. Like burn our candle for 4 days, rate the smell,
yeah, literally
biology class. Scientific.
It's fun. All right, so I am gonna put on my mitt to take it off the stove, and I'm ready to pour if you are. Is everybody at the pouring part, or for the other one that joined in?
I'm ready to pour.
Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna.
Nicole, are you ready to pour?
No, that's okay. You guys can move on. Mine's still.
It's still melting over there?
Melting.
And with the melting part too, Nicole, if you want to add in the dye block at the end, I would just do that at the very end once your wax is already like fully melted.
Okay.
I'm not adding my dye, and I don't think Maria's either. She did once before. I don't remember if you were on the call yet. And it's a little subdued of a red.
So this is, I'm trying to show what it looks like, but it's fully melted. And all I do is I just start in a corner and I just simply just pour it in there.
Did you stay in the one corner the whole time?
I did personally, just because the tray is even, so it does even out by itself. So there's not like a right or wrong way. I do notice that if you stay in one corner, you won't have like bubbles. It will disperse a lot more evenly.
You should probably pour slow too, huh?
I poured slow, and even if you get it if you get it on like the black centering stick, that's okay. But it wipes away if you even get it on the edges. So this was pretty much like the waiting process. Nicole, I don't know if you see this is the one that I did with the red block, so it is a little bit more pink.
Yeah, I love that. I want to do the dye too.
The potpourri trick, I think this was the most important step. This was like a trial and error process for me. So just make sure wherever your candle bowl is, you just have it stationary, because when you start to move it, it's going to splash up on the sides and dry that way. So wherever you have it now, once it starts to harden a little bit more, then you can pick it up, but just keep it set, because the moment that it moves, it's going to splash like on like the edges. So that's just kind of a tip. You'll also start to see a little bit of the bubbles and maybe in the corners. That's completely okay, because they'll go away. But the big thing was with the potpourri. So personally, I noticed that I let mine almost dry completely before I added in the potpourri, and that's only because if you over pour and the wax is like melted, then you're just kind of done. The more that you mess with it in the wax, like part right now, it will make it go up on the edges. So again, personal preference. If that you mind, that's okay. But I let it harden pretty much until the end, and then I added on like the dried plant, just because it does sink into the bottom of the tray when it's super hot, and when it dries, you won't see it. So now you can see this one. This was after I burned it with the plants. That's what it looks like after. But when you dump it in,
So like even if it's on top, like when you let it harden, it's going to be on top and it's going to be kind of loose.
Yes,
but then
correct.
Once you burn your candle for a little bit, it'll.
It will so I felt like it sat a little bit better once it was burned. When I added it on last, I think the only part where you might either not have to use the potpourri or let it sink in is if you were trying to gift it to somebody. So I kind of will show you. I just added like little like gift toppers that I found at the store with some ribbon, and if you want to gift it to somebody, that's always a good idea. But you would either have to give them the dried plant or dry it in completely, because it will, shake around if you try to wrap it.
Oh, it would be so cute to put the dried stuff like in a little muslin bag and then give them like, I don't know, you could probably use like GPT or whatever and come up with some cute little saying about sprinkling potpourri on your candle.
That's true. I said that could be the little added personalized step. Once they light it, they can sprinkle it in. But it definitely was just a little bit easier. And once it's dry, and say you do over pour in one corner opposed to another, you can wiggle it into place and it will be fine. So just depending upon your style. These were actually really pretty, and I think some of my bags had 2 or 3, but I made these like even around the candle. So these are like the little potpourri. I don't know, but I personally kind of put them on all 3 on the different sides, and that looked really pretty as well.
Oh yeah, those are cute, like little stars.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But that's it. So pretty much at this point, I just let it set. It probably hardened in less than, I would say, 25 to 30 minutes completely, which to me, I thought it was going to be like an all day process, but it wasn't. It was very quick. So you could get this project done in an hour, hour and 15 at the most.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then with the candle wicks themselves, I waited to cut those at the very last. So I had already sprinkled on my potpourri, and I waited to cut the wicks when it was completely dry. Because if you do it when it's too wet, you're gonna start to see, it makes it harder to cut them. So wait until your candle's completely dry to cut the wick.
And we were talking earlier, and Marie said you may get a couple, and she maybe said this again, but you may get like a couple bubbles in your wax, but just don't stress out too much about them. Once you light your candle, they'll start to like even out, and your surface will be nice, right?
Yes. So when I first did it, I was like trying to like blow out the bubbles, and I was like, no, this might be a little disastrous. So the second time we did it with my daughter, I noticed that they'll start to settle, and then once it melts anyways, it goes away. So I just feel like the less messing of the candle that you do once it's poured, it will just look nicer, and you don't have to worry about scraping it off of the edges, like, the edges that are inside the bowl. So it worked
It
out
looks
well.
good. Mine looks good so far. I'm so sad that Debbie et al. Don't have their candles. But it's already starting, like the edges of all
Mm-hmm.
the like points are already kind of starting to get some opacity to them. So it's got to be cooling a little.
Yeah, you'll start to see it. It hardens in the corners first, and then it just kind of spreads its way in. But it's a fun DIY. You can definitely do it with like your girlfriends. You can do it for date night. If your kids are a little bit older, they might not, or even younger, I wouldn't have them pour the wax, but they can like sprinkle on the potpourri. So it's a fun like family activity as well.
Yes, and it makes a really pretty bowl. And like you said, we can always use it after as well. Like for
Yes.
you had some really fun items in yours. I
Yeah.
love all those tiny little Santa mugs.
Yes, I was trying to play around with like, once it like cleaned it out, like with the ones, it works out well, the wax. Like personally, I've seen like methods, maybe if you put them in your freezer, let the bottom of the wax freeze, put it in the freezer, and then if you just hit it on the surface, when you take it out, all the wax comes out. So it makes it like for easy cleanup to make it into something else. So I put little Santa mugs in there. I had some leftover Halloween candy, so I put little Kit Kats in there because they were festive. So it was definitely fun. The kids like it when it's a candy bowl.
Oh yeah, they do.
Yes, yes.
The smell.
So it was. hmm But it smells so good. The pine scent smells really good. I'm a fan of the potpourri. The potpourri is really pretty.
It has a little bit of a scent to it as well. Unless
It
it's
does.
some the pine on my hands. I don't know.
It does. You can even like smell it when you open the box. Like it had a very strong, not strong, but it was very noticeable. It smelled very, very good. So I don't ever have a real Christmas tree, so it kind of gave me a Christmas tree vibe and made me feel like I had my fake tree was a real tree. So it
Yes,
smelled really good. Yeah.
that's awesome.
But I have the one that I made in the back. Let me see. I'm gonna try and show that one as best as I can. So this was the one that I made, and it's already lit. So you'll notice that
Wow.
I don't know if I want to, but pretty much what happens is like the middle of the tray will melt down first, and then the corners are always last, but it dries really pretty once it's already like burning. So I noticed that it's just better for me personally to add in the potpourri at the end.
Yeah, because it's always going to kind of sink down some. So that's a
Mhm.
good, because my instincts would have been to do it kind of now, so it would be, you know,
Mhm. Mhm.
but I
Yeah.
wouldn't about what you
Because it just like it sunk to the bottom, and then once it's completely dry, you don't see it at all. Opposed to when it was on top and you blow out the candle for the evening or for the day, you'll notice that it stays on the surface. So that was like a little tip that I did. But mine's also starting to dry and harden in the corners now. So I'm excited. This was so fun.
Yes. So I definitely am going to wait and add, because I'm going to be selfish and keep the candle myself. I'm not gifting it to anyone. I'm very excited to be burning it in the house. So I'm going to just wait and add my potpourri at the end, like you suggested, once it's really kind of hardened. But I love the idea of gifting it and just kind of leaving the potpourri out so people can add it. That's a really, really good touch.
Definitely. And I don't think I mentioned with the wicks itself. So I didn't really know how like short to cut them. So I kind of I started a little bit long, but again, once you start to burn them, they will even out. But I used you can either use the tool if you think that you can eyeball it and make them all cut even, which is what I did, or you can just cut it at the very top of the tool. But I didn't cut them super short, but they were pretty. I looked at, just a standard wick and they are pretty short. So don't be afraid to like cut them.
Okay.
Yeah. But it looks so good. It hardens well, and you'll notice that even with the edges too, that it hardens. So is yours looking good?
Looking good. It's getting white. It's starting to look like a flocked Christmas tree in there.
Yes. Nicole, did you pour yours?
I did, yes.
How's it coming along? Does it look good?
Can you guys see me at all?
No, your camera's
no, your video's not on.
Oh my goodness. Okay. You know how to put the video?
It should be at the bottom, like left.
Yeah, there'll be like a little icon at the bottom that you should be able to hit, and it will say your video's on. But we can hear you though. We just can't see your video.
Can you show the lit one a little better?
Can I show what was
It's
the
off
question?
the front of the screen. It's like out of screen.
If you can pull it like closer to your
To you.
one. No,
Pull it closer to me.
Yeah.
And then pull your lit one back down too.
Oh.
Great. Yep.
Here.
I guess.
It's hard for her to hold it up, but yeah, there you go.
Yeah. There we go. But now it's pretty opaque now, so I wasn't really paying attention to the time, but maybe like 10 minutes in or so, and it has a nice like start of dry. This would be a part where you could add on the potpourri, but I feel like even at this stage, when you add in the potpourri, if you over pour an area, it doesn't give you the flexibility again to fix it. And it does create little indentions in the wax, so it doesn't look as smooth if you were to pour it even at this stage.
Oh, I put my little star guy on.
That's a good idea at the top.
Well, I didn't put him at the top, but I'm just impatient. I wanted to put him in.
I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna do it myself. But even at the top of the candle would be cute. I didn't think about that. Like
Yeah,
putting one like it's the star.
I think my wick is too close to the top.
I mean, it once you cut it down, like they don't burn very high, so it should still be okay. Because mine's pretty close to the top.
I made it fit.
Oh, you made it fit? Okay. Cool.
I got gypped. I only got 2 stars. I only got 2 fun stars.
This one I only got 2 stars as well, but the other ones I had 3. But I like the idea of putting it at the top, so I'm gonna put mine at the top too. That's super cute.
like I have my bowl on the stove and I can't move it because I don't want to jostle it. So
Well, I think if I can see yours pretty good. Yours is like setting well, maybe like another 2 or 3 minutes. And if you need to like move it to a different area, it would be fine. But it's just like the initial part of when it's like all wax. I wouldn't recommend doing that.
it's like on the right hand side that's closer to the burner that was on.
Mhm.
It's still
Oh,
it's still not quite ready, but on the left side it's like white.
yeah. So I put my little potpourri star at the top. So that looks cute.
So cute.
Yes. And then they have like, there's pine needles for those of you that don't have your box yet, but it's more of like a pine needle look to it. And they have like little potpourri balls in there too, but very, very, very pretty. And they smell so good.
I don't know if you can see my one camera. I'm holding it up. I can
Move your hand just a little. Yeah, right.
Oh, right.
Other way.
Because
Yeah, you're right. It was just a little bit. Yeah, but no, it looks good. And then I personally used almost the entire bag. Again, if you want something that doesn't have a lot in it, but you can use the entire bag and just kind of spread it out evenly, and it will look good.
don't forget to take your little wick holder off. Otherwise, you'll have like a line of no potpourri.
Yeah, that's true. That is a good one.
Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. I love the
It
browns
is
and like
pretty.
the little tiny subtle bit of green. I'm glad I didn't put red on mine, but I'm sure it's pretty with the red too.
Yeah, no, it's definitely pretty. I feel like if you, depending on if you do traditional colors or this is a little bit more neutral, but I feel like it fits, different styles for sure. But I'll put my potpourri on now because it's pretty hard now. Like now I can't even see through the bottom of the bowl. And I just sprinkle it in.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna use it all too.
Are you gonna use it all too?
Probably. I'm
Yeah.
definitely a more is more person.
And by the time it starts to, melt too, it melts pretty, at the bottom of it.
Oh, it smells so good. It really
It
does.
does.
I better not leave it at my sister-in-law's house. That's where I'm at right now. She'll be like, "Oh, thank you."
Yeah.
What did you say about some of the little bubbles that show up on the surface?
So I noticed that when I go from the process of taking it off of the stove, getting ready to pour, I started in the lower right corner just because I'm right-handed. When you pour it and you do an even pour, it's just the way that the bubbles are super, super tiny bubbles that you'll notice that are only like on the edges of the candle. And initially, when I first did it, I felt like I was blowing on it, and that was just not a good idea. So you don't have to do that because once it starts to dry, those little bubbles go away. But they weren't like excessive bubbles.
Yeah, I noticed them when I poured mine. I think if you like pour really fast, you might get some ugly bubbles, but like if you go slow and like Marie said, start just in the one corner and stick with it. I don't have any dimples or bubble spots or anything at all.
Yeah.
Pretty smooth also. Good.
Oh, you did the red block. That looks so good.
Yes, I like your red.
Thanks.
Looks really good.
And I finally got my video to work.
I love your nutcracker in the background.
Thank you. Favorite guy.
But even like now, I can like pick it up and I'm gonna try and tilt it. But you'll notice though, since I didn't let it completely all dry in, it will just sit on the surface. And this is already, I don't know, I'm bad with keeping the time, but maybe 20 minutes. So by the time it's ready to go. You can light it same day.
Yeah, I mean,
But
it's like almost ready. Mine is
it's almost
pretty,
ready.
I'm kind of like lightly touching my potpourris and
Mhm.
they're not really penetrating. So it's,
Yeah, they're not
I think
sinking
if I
in.
pushed hard, it might be a different story, but
Yeah. And then
yeah.
like now I'll cut my wick. So I'll kind of show you how much I cut off. So I was personally eyeballing it. I didn't use like my tool. But I cut off quite a bit, about this much of it is what I cut off, and it worked out well. So I don't think that, even if you feel like you're not sure completely, I would say maybe cut them a little longer. But you'll notice that when you initially do it, it will still burn down slow. And I don't know if you guys can see her red candle. You see how it starts to harden in like those little corners? It's like the perfect demonstration. Like that's what it looks like just with the white. So it looks so good. So I will cut all my wick. Did you guys use all your wicks or did you only use a few?
I used all of mine.
I used 5.
I did 5 with my first one and then 6, and they both look really good.
Oh, it's so cute. I used all of mine too.
I'm super excited. So this was, yep, so I cut all the wicks off, and even you can tell that they're all not like the same length. But overall, that's how much I cut off of the wick. So I cut off quite a bit, but it will still.
Yeah, I think I cut like 2 inches off with the tool.
Mm-hmm. But now it's ready to go. It will look so pretty.
Jenna, you did 2 inches above the tool.
No. I think that the part that I cut off was 2 inches, and I did actually lay the tool. I just laid the tool on and just did my scissors like flat on the top of the tool.
Okay.
Yep.
And that cut about 2 inches off. But be careful about but I felt like I was like kind of pulling on my wick when I was cutting, because like Marie, you said earlier, like use nice scissors so that you get an even cut, and I didn't have that luxury. So
yeah, no, I feel like that sounds silly, but to be honest, the only reason why I have fabric scissors is because my daughter is a dancer and these come in handy. But I noticed when I took just my regular kitchen scissors, if you really don't start at the very like top of the scissor, it made for a jagged edge. And I guess it doesn't really matter when you go to burn it, but I was afraid it was like pulling it out of the bottom of the dough bowl. So fancy
that's what
scissors
I
aren't
thought too. I was
required.
like, oh, I'm gonna pull it out.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
Yeah, that was the only reason why I had the fancy ones, because of her. But yeah, the first time I used just my kitchen scissors and they weren't as sharp, that's for sure.
Well, it looks beautiful, and Debbie, and you guys are gonna have fun doing yours. It's simple enough. I think you have some great instructions. We'll get you the video too, just so you have it. And I can't wait to see everyone's candle styled in their homes. We do go on and post some of that on like our Pinterest and different social accounts. So please send them to us, and we'll get those posted.
Definitely. And just for, if you have some leftover potpourri, I mean, my whole candle's full, and I still have about that much in the bag. So don't be afraid to sprinkle it on. There's a lot that comes in the bag.
Marie, have you seen anybody who's like scattered their wicks and you obviously couldn't use the tool to hold them up if you did. I'm just wondering if anybody's done that so far.
No, and to be honest, I honestly think that would still look really good. I personally didn't think about that until after the fact, but the wicks themselves are sturdy enough to where in an instance like that where you wanted to get creative, they'll stay straight. Yeah, as long as you're not pouring directly on the wick and you just still pour in the corner, I think that they'll stay straight up.
Okay. Because I was
see it, Debbie, if you do that, because I thought about that after too, and Marie was
Yeah.
showing hers burning. I was like, well, if you did like a zigzag or like an ornament, you know, kind of like an ornament pattern.
That's a really cute idea. So
Kinda
I
like-
definitely
kinda
want
like
to see your candle.
kind of like
Mhm.
your tinsel on a tree, you know, the garland on a tree, you know, in that kind of pattern or something like that. Because your comment that you made about where the corners didn't burn at
Mhm.
the same time, you know, more burn in the center.
That's actually,
It
that's
was
a really good idea.
You might get more of an even burn. I don't know.
Yeah.
One of us will try it. We'll see. We'll let you
Yeah.
know.
Awesome. Well,
That's a
thank
really
you
good
so
idea.
much, Marie, for hosting.
Of course, thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes, and you guys check her out. It's underscore, hold on, Simply Andrews underscore on Instagram if you want some really fun decorating ideas and get into any holiday spirit, because this woman has all the fun.
All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you guys.
Thank
Bye.
you so
Bye.
much. Bye, Nicole.
Bye.
See ya.